Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 11 of our AEW 2022 save and TEW 2020. This is Rampage for July week 2. Of course, as mentioned on the previous episode, usually we do Dynamite and Rampage together, but I wanted to get you guys a video out. It's been sort of a busy week with SummerSlam and all that coming up and some of the work stuff I've had to do, so I wanted to make sure you guys got a video. So we just did Dynamite, but this will just be Rampage. It'll be a quick video. And we'll look at, as I teased in the last one, the official crowning of our first ever OVW Heavyweight Champion for our developmental. So we'll look at that here in a second. But this will be a short one, so let's jump into it. Ortiz and Santana and Ortiz, get the win over JD Drake and Tony Nese here on the pre-show. 642. Santana gets the pin on Nese. 59, not terrible, but as we see here, JD Drake, Tony Nese, probably not going to be joining our tag team division anytime soon. No chemistry here as partners, but Santana and Ortiz, a duo that doesn't really have a storyline at the moment, so we've been using them quite a bit, just sort of in random pre-show matches. We've had a couple matches for them on Rampage. I think we had one on Dynamite. So that's just, as we've said, that's how we've had to cycle teams in and out, or really anyone, singles wrestlers, teams, just kind of use them in different spots, even though it's impossible for everyone to have a storyline at the moment. So that's kind of what we're doing, and they get the win here on the pre-show. And then we start off Rampage with Wheeler Yuta underperforming. No, I'm just kidding. 63 here for this one it's William Regal saying that the Acclaimed have accepted the open challenge that they laid out here for Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. So it will be Moxley and Yuta in our main event, taking on the Acclaimed. And, that's just when Regal says, good luck, gentlemen. You know what you've signed up for, and you're going to get exactly that. So just kind of Regal here, revealing the opponents for Moxley and Yuta here on this one. And yes, that is our main event. Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta against the Acclaim. So 63 for this one. Yuta underperforming, but, we set up everything sort of for these guys to be able to use microphone skills and stuff. I mean, Yuta just doesn't have all that at the moment. So really, when you look at all of his skills, it was kind of which one do you pick? And yeah, it just kind of happens. So 63, but not bad for this one. All right, and then match-wise, we start off the main show with Bryan Pillman Jr., who we've called up from OVW just for this show. He's been down there. Roosh gets the win over him in 7:59. 58, not bad here. Roosh with an in-ring performance of 58. Let's recap the gimmick changes, which, to be honest with you, I have no idea what these are. Let's see what it is here. So Bryan Pillman Jr., cocky gimmick. So I don't know why. I don't even remember changing that. So maybe that's just something that's, I guess I did at some point when I was doing the initial gimmicks, perhaps, but I don't remember changing Bryan Pillman Jr.'s gimmick here. So that's fine. I thought this would do a little bit better, maybe, just in terms of skills. But again, we look at the in-ring performances here. We did do still the show to try to make this, because we have to have the 3 match aims different or whatever. So 3 different match aims. So I thought still maybe a little bit better, but then again, it kind of is what it is. Pillman's popularity is in the, I think, low 30s. Something like that. Roosh is not that high either, I suppose. So maybe this did as well as it could. So 58 for this one. Of course, Roosh, this is just kind of in response to, Lucha Brothers got a win on Dynamite, and now Roosh gets a win here in singles action. Of course, it's going to be at Fyter Fest coming up here in July week 3. It'll be Andrade and Roosh taking on the Lucha Brothers. It's just Roosh getting a win here on this one. And then, in a not-so-good promo, 39, that's, we never want to see the yellow, because means it's not good, or the red, I suppose. But Athena is with Tony Schiavone, and she wants to get revenge on Britt Baker and her group after what's happened recently with Thunder Rosa. Of course, we saw on Dynamite that Britt just, basically just destroyed Thunder Rosa backstage after that 6-woman tag match she was involved in. And now we have officially said it, that Athena wants to get revenge, and that's going to involve Athena taking on Jamie Hayter on Dynamite next week. So that's another match set for Dynamite, which you'll see several more we're going to add here on Rampage. But Athena versus Jamie Hayter is set. And so that's going to lead us into Athena being in action, though, here on Rampage. And she's going to get the win over Yumi Sakura, 656. for this one. 45, again, it is what it is. I mean, I think Emmy's got, I think her popularity is like 15. I checked it before we booked this show. I was like, oh boy. But as we know, work rate matters here. And apparently to TEW, it was a terrible match. So 45. It's not that terrible, but it's not the best. So yeah, this is just kind of one of those, warm up matches for Athena to get her ready for that match against Jamie Hayter on Dynamite. So Athena's trying to sort of be the person who gets the revenge for Thunder Rosa, who was, destroyed by Britt Baker. 45 for this one. All right, and then we get a video promo here from Christian Cage, and it is Christian saying that the new Luchasaurus will be in action on Dynamite. We saw that big promo from Christian on last week's Dynamite, or this previous Dynamite, and that was when, Christian was talking about the reason why Luchasaurus has aligned with him, because, they're kind of very similar in terms of being tag team partners that were always overlooked. They were never given the opportunity they deserved. And so Christian says, we will all see the new Luchasaurus on Dynamite. So there's another match added to the mix. I really need to, I got to update my storylines because this is advancing in the tag team title chase. But of course, that's when kind of our whole tag team situation started. We had all these guys in there. So I really need to update my storylines. I'm bad at that sometimes. You guys know, like I'm juggling 3 saves here. So sometimes I forget to update my storylines. 56. For this one, Luchasaurus also in action on Dynamite. All right, and then, speaking of action here, good action for this match, as it is Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland getting the win over the Men of the Year, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, 8:28. Keith Lee gets the pin on Ethan Page, and as you'll see here, a little bit of miscommunication between Scorpio and Ethan Page, but we know they still get the bonuses here as a tag team. Dan Lambert doing some good work. Page getting better at his gimmicks. So we have some stuff in the works here for the Men of the Year. And it kind of is going to be a starting point here with some miscommunication that maybe leads to this finish for this one. So keep that one in the back of your mind as we move forward. But Keith Lee, good performance here. Swerve doing well. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy to think, though, that Scorpio has the least best in-ring performance here. He's just, I don't know. We did take the title off of him in pretty quick fashion. Wardlow winning the TNT title. So, I had to sort of rethink what we're going to do with Scorpio Sky here because ratings-wise, some of the things just are not delivering. And we do have a plan, like I said, with some stuff here with the Men of the Year. So, 65 for this one. Lee and Swerve get another win. And, of course, they've been involved in this tag team title situation with Team Taz, kind of turning their focus to them and all that. But as we know, it was FTR calling out Team Taz for Dynamite. So we'll see what we get from that, and if we maybe get a tag team title match on Dynamite. But a good match here, 65. And speaking of Dynamite, we are just, I'm trying to get everything set up here for you guys to know what you're going to get on Dynamite. It's going to be Hangman Adam Page taking on Brody King in singles action on Dynamite. So there's another match added to the mix. This comes, of course, off the attack from the House of Black on Hangman, which involved Darby Allin and Sting making the save. And we had that 3-on-3 brawl. But it'll be Hangman and Brody King matching up on Dynamite. That should be a fun one. So 66, just kind of hyping that match for the upcoming show. And the Acclaimed are here, and they are hyping their match here in the main events against Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta, the Blackpool Combat Club, and Max Caster doing his raps. This is one where, I probably, if I wasn't doing 3 saves, I'd probably, write the raps out. You guys would love to hear me rapping, I'm sure. But I did think about that. I was like, maybe I should just write out a rap every time we put the Acclaim in a match, but I can't do it as well as Max Caster, so there's no way I could do that. So, but the Acclaim basically saying they're going to form their own club after winning this, and you guys can come up with your suggestions and ideas for what you think they would call that club. I'm not as good as Max Caster. I'm sure it would be something very thoughtful and brilliant, but I don't know. I tried to think of something. I'm like, what can he use to play off of the Blackpool Combat Club? But I don't know. But the Acclaim win this match, they're going to form their own club. So we'll come up with a name for them if that happens. 46 for this one. Let's see if a new club will be formed in AEW as we go into our main event, the Acclaimed versus the Blackpool Combat Club. And it will not, because Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta get the win over the Acclaimed, 11:31. Moxley pins Bowens with a Death Rider, 67. So not a bad match. Moxley, tremendous, 81 for this one. As I said, I've got to update these storylines because there's no reason this should be. But then again, never mind. We've got some stuff coming up. Maybe we could keep this there. But, I mean, great chemistry across the board here. Good. I mean, this is just great stuff here with all this. Of course, the Acclaim do have great chemistry teaming together. Moxley, Regal pairing always works. So, yeah, I mean, this was a match that I will tell you there was a bigger angle that I had planned for a situation here involving this main event. But my own logistical just snafu, I did not put everything in motion the way I needed to sort of put it in motion to be able to pull this angle off. So we're going to hold that angle off for another show. But that is something I wanted to note. I kind of teased it, I think, on Dynamite. I was like, I have a pretty big angle planned for this one, but logistically, I did not do the things I needed to do to be able to pull this off. So we will hold that off for another episode, and that's when sometimes I forget, like we're taping Dynamite and Rampage on the same night. So like I'm like, oh yeah, whoops, I forgot to do that before we got to Dynamite because we can't do it afterwards because we're already in the PM stage, so we can't change some of the things we need to change. So that's a long way to tell you that I botched an angle on this one that I wanted to do, but we will do it on another show. 67 for the main event, and that, though, is not how we end the show because even though it's another Blackpool Combat Club win, we get Adam Cole, who comes up on the video screen here after the match, and, of course, Regal ringside, and we'll just act like Bryan Danielson is there as well, and this is when Adam Cole says that he will address William Regal and Bryan Danielson on Dynamite. Of course, we've had week after week now. Regal has just sort of been essentially challenging Cole to be the one to step up to Bryan Danielson in one of these, open challenges from the Blackpool Combat Club. It hasn't happened yet. We saw Kyle O'Reilly be the one that was picked on Dynamite. Danielson got the win in that one, but Cole says he'll address Regal and Danielson finally. He's kind of avoided it until now, but he will address it on Dynamite. So that's how we finish the show. 66 for this one. And this one gets losing its popularity in one region, 64, but it increases our popularity in 7. That's what we want. So, this was kind of a not really. Look, we didn't have any no light green segments, which is never ideal, but just kind of your Dynamite, just pushing forward a few things as we continue the road to Fyter Fest and what will be a pretty big episode of Dynamite coming up on the next one. So, all right, there's Rampage for this one, 64 for this, and let's get into, see what we need to get to before we wrap up. And we're going to look at the official reveal of our first ever OVW Heavyweight Champion. All right, so news-wise, a noteworthy signing here. This picture of Michael Hayes is just something. Michael Hayes may be returning to WWE. He'd be great to have as a road agent in AEW. We got enough great ones. I don't know that we need Michael Hayes necessarily, and I just think he's a better fit in WWE, so I don't think we're going to touch that one. But Minoru Suzuki on his way out of New Japan. Wow. So there you go. Once his contract expires, he is history. Well, that's some way to treat him. Let's be honest, guys. This would be a nice pickup for us. So we may take a look at that and may see what Minoru Suzuki's up to for this one. So Dynamite was great. We got a lot of praise for this one. Rampage, good. Underwhelming, yeah, whatever. Anyways, Sting has an opinion, and that is that Rey Fenix is charismatic and see him doing well in the future. Well, I appreciate that, Sting. We've obviously got big plans for Rey Fenix. So Sting tapped into the new generation. 1.28 for Dynamite. That's not bad. And, of course, as I mentioned before, Statlander's out for a while, which was not ideal and made me change some big plans I had in place. So, all right, that was that. Let's look at, as I teased, let's look at what's going on in OVW, including the crowning of our first OVW Heavyweight Champion. All right, so let's look at what's happening in OVW. Our current CEO, Shane McMahon, which does not seem as silly now, to be honest with you. Remember when we had the discussion where we were like, how crazy would it be for Shane McMahon to be in AEW, and should we actually do it? Is it not that realistic? Well, when you consider what's happened in WWE since we started this, maybe not that, crazy to think that it could happen. But Don Callis still doing his booking magic. And speaking of booking magic, we have our first ever OVW champion. And yes, I've hyped it up enough. The guy who's going to take OVW to new heights and perhaps become a big superstar on the main roster here of AEW. That is our champion, and it is Fuego del Sol. Fuego is our champ, and yes, our OVW Heavyweight Champion of the world. He's the winner. So he won it at our previous show, and by the way, I still don't think we have a nationwide championship. So let's see. We remember our tag champs are still Bryan Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. I know I shouldn't have beat one of our OVW tag team champions on Rampage, but that's fine. Kiera Hogan, still our women's champion. But Fuego wins our OVW heavyweight title, and that came on, let's see, it was Anthony Ogogo. That's what I was thinking of. So what we did was we did change our schedule. We had talked about that. We were going to do weekly Saturday shows. And yeah, it was Fuego and Anthony Ogogo for the OVW heavyweight title. So Fuego gets the win. He's the champ. Look at that face. This guy's ready to be champion. So there you go. Fuego leading the way in our championship situation there. And as I said, we are doing the event every Saturday, the Saturday night special, we're going to call it. And yeah, so that's, just something where we can look at the recent results here. Let's see. It'll be this one, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's fine, right? It's Kiera Hogan had a successful defense beating Penelope Ford. Good for her. A lot of women's matches. That's good. Julia Hart getting a win here. Gun Club, successful. So, OVW moving right along. And so there you go with that. There's your big reveal on the OVW champion. So, all right, that was Rampage and a look at what's going on in OVW. But as always, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And check out the WWE 2022 save now as we are on the road to the Royal Rumble. And WCW 1998 fans, I promise I haven't forgot about you. It's just been a busy couple weeks here. We've had a lot, kind of a big stretch, a pay-per-view sequence in our WWE series, which usually, that kind of takes priority over everything else just because it is our main save here in terms of the one that's going on the longest. So we've had a lot going on with that one. And we kind of had to split our AEW one. So haven't forgot about WCW 1998. We're on the road to sold out there. We are in sold out week. And we'll have the next episode of that coming up soon. So, but on the next episode of our AEW series, it will be Dynamite and Rampage, our go-home editions of Dynamite and Rampage for Fyter Fest for July Week 3.